Okay, the CSS selectors, it is a cascading style sheet. Fine. These are used for styling the different elements of an HTML web pages. Basically, we use for styling the web page. You can see over here, I can show you. Okay, if I go and inspect the element, fine. You can see there is some tab called style over here in the right side. All right. So they have written some margin bottom and width, this padding, this border left, etc. This okay. They have written CSS for this particular web page to make it look it more, attractive. Right. So this is the use of CSS cascading style sheet. Okay, so let's see how the CSS selector works in our case in a Selenium. How we'll be using CSS selector, right? Using that property, how we can do our, we can locate the web elements. Okay, in Selenium, we can use these CSS selectors. There are some rules or patterns for locating the web elements. Okay, let's see for an example how we can do it. Okay, CSS selectors using ID. There is different uh, flavor of CSS selector. First one is CSS selector using ID, like XPath by.id, XPath by something like that. At that ID, at that name, something we have already written, right, for XPath. Similarly, for CSS selector also, the first one is using ID. Using ID, you need to write something like that. Okay. Has, you know, write has and ID name. Fine. Suppose, oh sorry, something my keyboard is you know, fine, no issue. Okay, so how we can find this particular thing using ID name? So just remember, if the ID name is there, so you need to provide any has before that particular web element. Okay, let's see. Yes, it is more powerful. It is kind of more, mm, what you can say, it's faster than anyone. All right, because it's a the locator is working with the UI part only. Not it is not going in detail like here. It's just UI. All right, you can see it is working with the UI only. Whatever you can see, that is the UI, and the CSS works with the UI only. Okay, user interface. Fine. So in my case, suppose I want to select this particular web element. Let's see, does it has any ID? No. Let's see. Let's uh, inspect some element which has some ID. Maybe this one. What is? Okay. Fine. So basically, what happens is in this case, okay. Suppose I inspect it. Okay. So you can see there is a ID. Let me check for any web element having some IDs. Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Yes, let me go to the Orange HRM as well, because we are going to automate this particular application. Fine. So this is my applications. Let's see whether I can do this thing or not. Fine. Yes, this name and this is the ID. So how we can write is, okay, we cannot validate over here using this thing. Okay, let's see if I do the console. Can I be able to do it? Let's see. Because in XPath, if it is XPath, then you can validate it over here. Like you can write something like this. Okay. What was that? Input. Yes, I'll explain. At the rate ID equals that particular thing, right? If I write like this, so it should return ID equal to text. 1 second. Let's see. Maybe okay. What I can try is, let's see. This is in console. You can do it in console as well. It will return the same thing, but I prefer this one. This particular tab. There is multiple tabs available over here, right? Elements, console. Okay, from Control F. Yep, Control F. You can do it. Okay, and right click. Just right click on that particular thing. And most important thing is, okay, here what I can tell you, you can see if you just hover on any particular web element, you can see there is something written like input has text username. That is CSS. All right. In Chrome, you will be able to find the CSS like this way. It's pretty simple. Okay. Input has then text password, and in here input has button dot log btn login dot button. So this is the this thing CSS for that particular web element, right? But you cannot find over here because it's saying find by string selectors or XPath, not the CSS selector. Let's see, let's try it using the same thing, because we know this thing, right? Span that form or input has text username. All right. What is that? Input has text username. Oh, it is. It is working fine. Great. Okay. Great. Yes. Yes. I'll explain in detail. Don't worry. Okay. In CSS, this is we are talking about this particular thing, right? Has then ID name. So basically, remember this thing. If ID is there, we need to use has. All right. If we use the class name, we use dot. Fine. So basically, what happens is, in here, if there is something then you need to write tag name. Tag name is if it's a button or input box, then write tag name is input, right? Tag name, then has, then ID name. This is the syntax. Yes, always put has before that ID, or directly you can write a has ID name only. If you do not write the tag name as well, that is also fine. All right, like I can write this one. Okay, let me put this thing. Example. Okay, this is my username. All right, so so like this way I can write, or what I can do is I can write like this. Only has, fine. This will also work fine. Let's see if I do. But the thing is, it will it will have multiple web elements present. So our intention is to find only one particular web element, right? The unique one. So to make it unique, we need to put input. All right. Now it's a unique one, right? Similarly, we can write for class name. CSS selector for, yes, for class. The rule over here is dot. Okay, dot then class name. Fine. So the same thing. We can write something like that in here, because you can see it is the name over here. All right. So let's see if there is any class name. Okay. Okay. If I write something like that, div dot class name. Okay. Now you can see I'm able to find this particular class, this particular node. After that, what I can do? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Now you can see input for this, because this is the password field, right? If I want to go to this particular field, then I need to write this particular. I'll talk about this anchor tag. Okay, greater than symbol. Like we have written in XPath. What we have done is we have written like this way, right? Forward slash. All right. So in this case, we need to write this particular thing. We'll see about it how. Okay. So you got it right. How we can select using dot. All right. You can see there are two elements is being highlighted. So like this way, we can write using the XPath CSS selector, right? Dot, div then dot, or only dot also will work fine. If I remove, div is a tag name. Yes, the same. Okay, syntax I need to write. Sorry, tag name, tag name dot class name. Fine. This is the syntax. This is the example. Fine. and then the is very less. Yep. But there are different combinations are there, like XPath axis is there are a lot of things present within this, lot of things. Okay, the third one is using tag name. Just now we use that, right? Using tag name to make it unique, we can use the tag name as well. Okay, the rule is the like this way, tag whatever tag is present, like anchor tag or maybe it's a div. Okay, you need to provide that one, right? This particular thing, any tag name, right? Like div and all. Fine. Let's see one example. The same example we can write over here. This particular thing. I can take this one. Okay. Div is a tag name. Fine. Then different attributes are there. Okay. One second. Fine. So what we can do, we can write some attribute value as well. Okay. Like this way we can write. Suppose there are some attributes. Attributes means, okay, fourth one is, yes, whatever present, any properties. Okay, like attribute name, we can write like this way. Attribute name equals within double quote you need to write the value, attribute value. Fine. So this is my syntax. Then what I can do, what I can write is the correct. Yes, something like that. Yes, correct. The same thing, same thing. What do we have to do in here? You can observe here. Okay. If you try to find this particular web element, maybe. Okay. So this particular thing, right? What I can write instead of using dot or a hash for ID, dot for class, right? Instead of that, what I can do, I can write something like that. Tag name equals like this, and the tag name. Okay, sorry. The attribute name and the attribute value. What was the attribute value for username? Let's see this one. Uh, Text username, right? So this thing within the, it will be present like this anchor. This thing, this thing. You can see now it's highlighting. All right, like this way. You can also write, like if you have multiple properties, you can change this thing to ID as well. It will, or you can do something like type equals text, right? A value is equal to text, so you can write something like this way. Got it? So if it has many properties, then also you can use like this way. All right. Yes, yes, and is also there. We'll see. Okay, and or everything are present. Then okay, and using tag and tag. So we have already discussed about this one. Using tag, both a tag dot class name. Tag has ID name. All right, fine. So now let's use some more advanced thing like using tags and attributes. Okay, so this is using the attribute value name, and the fifth one attribute, right? Yes, using tag name and the same thing, right? Attribute name or the value. Fine. So let's see how it works. The tab type is there. So what is the tag name over here? Name input, right? Input is my tag name. When if you enter, it will be able to find that one and one. But similarly, you can write for others as well, like ID, password, whatever. Right? Let's see ID input uh, name. Same. The way, yeah, the way we write is different, but everything is same. Instead of at the rate ID and all, we are writing like dot and hash, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Correct. Correct. So like that way we use, but in this particular case, what we'll be using is the plain text like has a dot and all, and some greater than symbol, smaller than symbol, something like that we'll be using. All right. Okay. So the next thing is using element inside the other element, like following sibling, the preceding sibling, right? So the same thing, or we can say sixth one, child or subchild, right? So in this case, what is the rule? Rule is fine. The rule is here the locator one. Suppose I have locator of the child has locator one, okay, and the subchild has locator two, okay. So I can write like this way, locator two, fine. So like this way we can write. Let's see how it works. Fine. In this case, what I'll be writing is locator 1. So suppose this is my locator 1. All right. I have located this particular. If I want to use the multiple locators, so what I'll be doing is this. This is the one, and the second one also I can write. Right? How can I write it? Okay. This ID equals. But I can write the same text username. Okay. Multiple things we can write over here. All right. Yes. Yes. So here you can see child or subchild, or I can say elements inside other element, or elements inside other elements, right? Or child or subchild, something like locator one. We know how to find a particular web elements locator. If one locator is not sufficient, then we can use this way, locator one and locator two, right? Yes, locator one and space locator two, like this way we can write, right? Directly also we can write. Suppose this is my input, the ID, right? ID is something. What do we use for ID? Has input has. Okay, yeah. And for if I want to write the second one as well, how to write it? Second locator. For type, suppose I want to write the type equals something like that we can write, right? The text. Let me put this. Okay, so what I can do is I can put this. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that can be done. Yeah, yes, yes, that can be done. But I'm trying with this has. Okay, only has, because if you write this, if you remove this particular thing also, then also it will be highlighting that thing wherever that particular text username is present, that will be highlighting. All right. If you are using IDE, then what you will be using? You can see. Yes, yes. You can see if you are using ID, the syntax is has then ID name. Fine. And if you are using the class, you need to use a dot. Okay. Dot class name. I can say here dot. Fine. Then suppose there is a drop down. All right. Drop down has a list one, list two, or select one, select two, something like that present, right? In the drop down. Let me check whether drop down is present somewhere. I don't know. Let me just sign in. Let's see. Drop down. Okay, in here, let's check if any drop down present. Yes, here some drop down is available, right? So if I go here, okay, here you can see option one, option two, something there. All and sales, all the values of for this particular drop down is present over here, right? So in this case, we used to write nth, right? Nth child. Okay. So let's see how we can write nth child, the sixth, seventh one, right? This is most important thing, right? Nth child. Yes, like if you not a Dropbox, you can use for anything. But the thing is, like it has suppose anything has many childs. Okay, then if I want to select the particular child, then only we use this particular thing, right? Suppose this particular, this is my select is my parent. For this particular drop down, right, select is the parent, and option one, this option, this all option are childs for this particular select. All right, yeah, this is a parent, right? This one is a parent. Okay, these all are child to this particular tag. All right, so if I want to select this particular thing, administration, not all, I just want to select only administration, what I'll be doing, I'll be using nth child, nth child. Okay, that means third child or fourth child, something like that. Fine. Let's see how we can do it. The syntax is, we can write some tag name, then nth child. Let's see. hmm This particular thing, and I know the name, or maybe ID, suppose. So for ID, what do we use? Has. All right. This has. Tag name also you can write select, right? But it is uniquely identified, then that is fine without using tag name also. If you are identified, then yeah, it's right. If you want to write it, just write it. No issue in that. Fine. Then I need to write something like this. Option. Tag name for child is option, right? So you can see 5 options are being selected, right? This has options, right? So using options, then what I can write is colon, colon over here, right? Just observe column nth, okay, hyphen child. Okay, within the child, I can write something like this. 2. If I want to have 4, if I want to select 5, I can write like this. Third. Okay. So something like this. So what is the what you can say syntax for it? Its syntax is the list or the tag name, tag name, then colon, fine, nth child, and the number of that. Okay, serial number, or you can say 2, 3, 4, whatever. Fine. For example, if I write example, this one, select live list, and this particular live list, the class name or id name. This is id name because we have used has. Then the second one is the tag name, this particular thing. All right, this particular thing. Then nth child, and we are selecting the third one. Right, got it? Like how we use the in case of a drop down, or if we want to have, suppose this is a list, right? You can see, you can observe there in UI. If I select this, all right, so it is selecting something like this way. So if I want to select this particular thing, so how can I do? If I know the OL, right? OL is the tag name, right? This particular thing, this one, all right? Yes, OL, then space. Okay. Oh, okay. What I can do, list, right? List. Okay. OL, then list, and you can see OL, then list. It is selecting the sixth list. This one, this one, this one. Then colon. All right. Nth child. Nth child of 2, or maybe 5, or 3, 4, whatever. Got it? It's pretty simple. Fine. Okay. So then siblings. Which one? This one is this one. Okay. So the first one also you can see. This is one part. Okay. We are identifying this particular. Uh, okay. Here you can see in this particular thing. We need to first select this particular thing, right? Tag name. Then we need to go to this particular thing na, using nth child. If we are not able to identify this particular web element, then how can we go to this particular thing? To identify this particular web element, we need to write write using this its id name. So how we can write id? Has id name, this id value, right? Then space, then we write option is the tag name, right? Tag name, then nth child of third, fourth, fifth, whatever, right? So like the same way we are written. The first one, it doesn't have any thing like id class and other things. So we have just used its tag name to identify it, right? Fine. So this one, the seventh one, and now let's go for eighth one. Then locating. Yes, we'll come to that. Fine. Locating siblings, right? Following sibling and preceding siblings we used in XPath accesses, right? So similarly, in this particular thing, locating siblings, okay, how we can locate using siblings? over here. The syntax is locator one, locator one plus locator two. Okay, so like this one, this way we use, okay, locating the siblings. Fine. So this is most important. Locator one plus locator two. Okay. So that means we can see in the same example like here, right? So if I know about this particular thing, this one option, this one sales or options, I know about this. I just want to find this particular thing, right? So how can I get it? Okay, fine. So how exactly we can do is, mm, hmm, yeah, locator one has some value, right? Yeah, that thing we can do. Correct, correct, correct. Got it. So what I can do? Yes, this particular things like how we can locate that thing. Like it has some tag or some value. Okay. So locator are the properties of that particular web element, right? The properties of that. Yes, yes. Or anything, any attribute also. Like using any value, if you able to locate that particular web element, that calls a locator, right? Using type, using text, etc. Fine. So in here you can see I have sales, I have administrations. Okay. So let's see. I know this particular web element. Okay. Suppose how I can know it? Options. Okay. I know the options of this particular things. Options. Then how to write it? The value, right? I can something write like this. Value equals 0. Okay. So I am able to identify this particular web element. Okay. So I want to find this IT, sixth one. Okay. How can I do it? Yes. Using plus. Yes. Let's see how it works. Plus options. Okay. It will find its next one. And let's see if it is working with this. No. No. You can be able to find its adjacent value, right? Fine. So you are able to find this particular element, then you can use the that thing. What is this? Nth child, right? How to write for nth child? Okay, the child will not. You cannot find the child because it is in the same level, right? It doesn't have the child, so you cannot use the nth child over here. Fine. Plus option. Okay, like this way. Okay, if I write like this, you can see from here, if I use plus 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 plus, then I can able to find this particular thing. Got it? Yeah. So this is how we can use this particular thing, sibling locator. Fine. I can also write this thing. If I can write it, that would be great. No. Okay, no issue. 9. Then there are something called starts with, ends with, contains. So we'll see in the next session, right? Yes, yes, yes.